Let's see if this actually works on the Discords. Because that I don't know. Want to go nyai? Can you go nyai? Let's go to bed. It's still light outside, but good golly. You have really got my hair. All kinds of stuff. Baby. Baby. Come on, baby. Let's go night. Let's see. Who is all of these people? I cannot see anything. I see Miranda. Hey! What up, y'all? It is still light outside, but she has fallen asleep, so come on. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I know. Come here. I can't see what any of this says. Yeah, she is definitely worn out. What up? Okay. Come here. Let me take this off. Let me take your belt. Gotta get your belt. We're gonna open this up. You ready? Are you ready? My sweet girl. This is sweet baby. This is my sweet baby. You see how sweet she is? She said, no, mommy, don't put me in here. She said, I won't go no night. Hey, wait. Wait, what happened? Who there? I see. Hey, doggy. Oh, yeah. Well, especially when they start growing and stuff like that, they get really sleepy. But she's had a lot going on today. So she played hard. I know. Just say night, everybody. Say night, everybody. See, this is what makes me feel guilty because she grabs on and she holds on real tight right here on my arm or around my neck, and she just squeeze so hard. Like, mommy, don't put me in there. This is about to get really bad. She's going to be very upset with me. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Thug. Okay. It's going to get real ugly because she's going to try to get away. I know you don't want to go in there, but you got to go night-night. Yes, you got to go night-night. Yeah, you do. You got to go night-night, okay? I give you smooches. The belly smooches. Can you go night-night? I know you don't want to go in there, but I can see your slow blink and you were sleeping. Come on, baby. Why does she make me feel so bad? She makes me feel so bad. I don't want to put her night-night. Come on, let's go. You gotta go night-night. Come on, you gotta go night-night. Yes. Don't say no. Oh, you got a full tummy too. You got big full belly. I feel how tight it is. You ready to go? Come on. You gotta go night-night. Okay, hold on. Come here. I know. Come on. You gotta go night-night. I know. You just want hugs. Come on. I know you just want hugs. Come on. Oh, careful. Ow, that hit my knee. Hold on. I know. You gotta go night. Come on, baby. Come on. Let's go night. I know. Come on. Let's go night. You gotta let go of mommy. You gotta let go. Night. No, you gotta let go. Night. Watch your fingers. There we go. Night, baby. I know, sweet girl. I'm so sorry. I know, baby. Okay, there we go. Okay. That's why I feel guilty. She don't want to let go. That's why I feel bad. She makes me feel bad. Anyway, let's see who else here. Let's see. I know. I feel so bad. I don't like putting her away. Come on here. What up, Lemur? Hey, Camaro. I know. Sweet baby. Hey, I don't know who the honey blossom is, but hey, what's going on? Somebody say, oh my G. Yes, yes, she does not like going to bed. She doesn't want to let go of me, but I have to let her go. She has to go to bed. She fell asleep in here, so she needs to go in her own bed. If she falls asleep in here, she has to go in her own bed. That's just how it works. I know it looks rough, but she wants to be with me. That's why it looks rough. Oh. Anyway, I know. It's time for dawn. It's just like a little kid. I need a drink. I need a hug. I need this. I need that. Yeah. No, you gotta go to sleep. She was sleeping when I was in here, and then I got up. I know. She'll live. I know. Okay. That's lemur. We're not allowed to say that. That's lemur. No government names in here. I'm just kidding. Okay. Woohoo! All right, let me get my stand. I swear, I think my vision is getting worse, especially since all the comments and stuff started. When all the comments and stuff started popping up, and I was like, I can't see what any of this says. Hold on, let me see what all this. I couldn't see a thing. All right, y'all. I know I see someone in here comes in and just OMG. Yes, it's very rough. It looks bad. It's really not. She's fine. Oh, that is warm. She's fine. She's just going in her enclosure. She's. I've never changed my name here, so I have no idea. What? No, it's not. Y'all be quiet. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It was fine before, right? Like it was. It wasn't doing that before. Maybe it's my. Maybe it's where it's sitting. Hold on. Okay. How about that? Does that work? Is that working any better? Maybe it was just where it was sitting. The sound was reverberating off of my. It was okay when you were up. So when I held you like this, everything was okay? That sucks. Probably because Aria licks the. She likes to lick that. Is it okay now? Is it okay if I hold it up? Is it possibly that it's echoing? Is that maybe what it is? Okay, well, here's the problem with that. It's not as easy to end and restart a live over here as it is. By the way, did everybody get the notification on? Did everybody get the notification on Discord? Hello, thank you. I don't know if the notification. Okay, it did come up. Okay, I have no idea. I have no idea. See, she was asleep. She's asleep. Oh, good. Yeah, because I turned it public. I don't normally have it on public. I think that's why I was having an issue before there. No, it just says that I posted a new video. It doesn't say that I'm live. Where would it say that I'm live at? Unless I have not received the Discord notification, which would seem very odd. Did I not get the. That's so weird because it shows that I posted a YouTube video, but it doesn't show that I'm live. That's weird. Maybe it was just a YouTube notification. Either way, whatever. It's fine. Okay. Anywho, is this sound okay? The sound's okay? Everybody can hear me? Everybody can hear okay? Just want to make sure. Okay, but can you hear me okay? That's the question, because otherwise I have to completely get out, restart, and I have to do, like I said, it's not as easy. It's not as easy to restart a live on TikTok or on YouTube as it is on TikTok. TikTok's a little easier. You just end it and come back. Over here, not so much. I have to end it, delete this, and then you blame me. Okay. I don't know what static y'all are hearing. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I'd have to delete this, otherwise it'll automatically post. And then I have to retell it that no, it's not AI. Do all the extra little stuff and then do it again. Invite her. She better be subscripted. That's how I'm going to put that. She better be subscripted. That's how I see that. So I'm wondering if it didn't pop up on the. Oh yeah. See, and over here it's a little nicer. Let me put it this way. The hate comments between TikTok and YouTube are so much different, because on TikTok you know that they're stupid. So 9 times out of 10 it's just like, okay, whatever, and you just ignore them. Over here, they can insult you with so much intelligence and hate. It's awful and crazy, and just sometimes it gets a little. There's a little much on YouTube, because there's more mature people on YouTube, so the way that they insult you is a little more harsh, I guess you could say. But on TikTok, it's so much different. Who is that there? Well, hello there, Charles Blinken. Hello. Oh, girl, Miranda, you better get food. Better get it. Okay. Today, I am reading the last book in the Affair series. I know, right? I mean, maybe they just know how to do it with a little bit more poise and a little more. So I'm reading the last book. We are going through chapters 1 through 8 today. And that is what is working with that. I have read the other 3 in the series. This one and this one are actually posted here. So these 2 do have that, but this one was read on a different platform, so I do not have that one. But either way, the poor lady is tortured in all the books. It has been very, very bad. You don't know what's going on in this story. Okay. So this one here, main character, she is kidnapped and her leg is chopped off. Poor lady, right? But she meets a man who wants to save her, and everything's great. So she thinks. And then in this one, okay, so she's abandoned by her mother, doesn't know who the hell her dad is. This is the backstory. This is the backstory of her childhood. You missed this one. It was very rough. People left because it was very rough. So her childhood in the foster care system is a little harsh. There were several times where I had to compose myself while reading, because it is very hard to listen to and it makes me want to cry. So yes, exactly. This one is very hard because yes, it is a
you realize that she is 6. She goes through the entire foster care system. It is her from the ages of 6 through 15. Yeah. And then it ends where this one ends. This one basically begins. But it is read third because there are characters that are mentioned in this book that are mentioned in the one today. Um, you cannot. What is stuff going on right there? Is stuff going on right now? Because that's nope, nothing cool that I need to worry about. Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. This one here. Yeah, it is posted though. So yeah, before. Yeah, it was rough. It was kind of hard, but yes, this one is her childhood backstory. But there are characters that are mentioned in this book. That's why it's read third. That pop up here. So when I start reading and get to certain points, I think, yeah, I know, I think we all cried. I kept swallowing really hard, trying not to make it sound like I was crying. But I think there's certain points where Christy Jorgensen and Miranda are going to really know what I'm talking about. I remember those characters. Yes, you will. Plus, not only that, but I do always kind of give you like not quite a flashback, but almost like a memory of, oh, I know who that character is. So there you go. So if you haven't read the other books, it's okay. So there is kind of like each character that you see is more like okay, I do remember who that is. Okay, I do remember who that is, kind of thing. So, oh man, yeah. And then this one here, you get to find out who her mother is, who abandoned her at 6 years old, who her father is, who she had never met. You also get to meet her brother, who ends up being the killer in the first one, and her sister, who ends up being total garbage. Oh, speaking of which, because this one here ends where the next one's going to begin, so we are going to read a little bit of that really quickly. Let's see. Yes, I'm going to read this last page from Fruitful Affair because it kind of goes with it. So you'll get it. You'll be like, or at least the ones who heard this one. Well, it'll kind of jog your memory, I guess. Let's see. Okay. Well, we are still packed, so we can plan what we are going to do on our honeymoon and get ready to leave. Let's change your bandages and keep it clean so we can leave as soon as you are healed, Jasper said as he lifted me up into his arms in order to carry me up the stairs. He left the wheelchair at the bottom of the stairs and took me to our bedroom. He placed me on the bed and began changing my bandages. I actually started to relax and allow him to take over my first aid. Just as I allowed my entire body to relax, my cell phone rang. The call was coming from an unknown number, but I answered it anyway. Hello, I answered. Mackenzie, it's Amber. I need your help. So there's that. Anyway. I mean, so Amber is not supposed to contact her at all for any reason, but she did. And we'll get to hear that when I start the next one. Anyway, so yes, that is these 3. This one is very rough. If you have a hard time with children and things like that, it's a little rough. So, anywho, and if anybody has seen, I don't know if anyone has seen it. This is the newest one, book number 13. Hello. I gotta take that one out of there too because those 2 belong to somebody else. So, these are the newest ones. This one just came out on the 13th of last month. So, this is the newest one. And then, hey, Becca! Woohoo! And then, of course, this one came out September of last year. I was just excited that my 13th book came out on Friday the 13th. That's what I was excited about. Woo-hoo. And then I've got more coming out. Keeps going. It just keeps going. All right. Fruitful Affair. Wait, oh, pass it back already. What the heck happened? Who's passing what? Oh, passes virtual J. That's what you're talking about. Getting all nuts in here. All right. Yes, just in time. I had a very, very rough situation. I know. I was like, pass what back? What happened? Anyway. Gotta get my prep. Okay. So, for anyone who doesn't know what I just read, didn't understand it, she had just gotten that little. So, because she had her leg cut off, and this one, she gets kidnapped and has that little part of her stump flayed off of her leg. That's the bandages that he's changing. So that's the point where it's going there. She can't put on her prosthetic leg because of the open wound right now. So that's why he's changing her bandages and making sure that it stays clean and gets healed so she can wear her prosthetic when they go on their honeymoon. Now, chapter 1. Jasper and I were finally preparing for a honeymoon. As I relaxed on the bed, hoping that my mutilated stump would heal, my phone rang. Picking it up off the nightstand, I noticed the call was coming from an unknown number, but answered the phone anyway. Hello, I said as soon as the call connected. Mackenzie, it's Amber. I need your help, a female voice said on the other end of my cell phone. Amber, you are not supposed to contact me, I told her. I need your help. Please, I don't know what to do, Amber pleaded with me. I let Agent Lee know you called, I told her, pulling the phone away from my ear to hang up. No, Mackenzie, please, I heard Amber yell, just before touching the red button and hanging up the phone. I thought Amber was supposed to disappear and never contact you again, Jasper said as I tossed my cell phone on the bed. That's what Faith told her. I don't need this stress right now, I told him, sliding off the edge of the bed, allowing my one leg to hang off and rubbing my forehead with the heels of my hands. Call Faith, and I will finish repacking for our honeymoon. Jasper was swapping out certain clothing items that had been originally packed due to the fact that the season had changed. Pants were swapped with shorts, and long sleeves were put away, and tank tops were packed. I had decided that I wanted to be comfortable on our honeymoon, so I was going to wear shorts and ignore the fact that my legs were different. Faith Lee was an FBI agent who was the police officer who found me when my mother abandoned me when I was 6 years old. I had recently found out that my biological father was Detective Rage, the police detective who assisted in the investigation of the Butcher case. Malachi Townsend was a sick son of a bitch who abducted and mutilated women for his own sick amusement. It turned out that he was my biological brother, and he had amputated my left leg and raped me. I was left for dead in a plastic storage box at the back door of the hospital. Months later, when he killed my friend, I shot and killed him. After opening the Ansley Kirkland Center for Recovery in memory of that friend, Amber Harwell came to stay at the center, lying about who she was and what happened to her. She turned out to be my biological sister and was helping Detective Rage, whose real name was Brett Carter, to finish my murder. Amber changed her mind at the last minute and killed our father. Faith Lee showed her mercy and told her to leave town and never contact me again. Faith, I just received a phone call from Amber. She said she needs my help, I told her as soon as she answered the phone. What phone number did she call you from? She asked. I gave her the number from my recent call list, and she told me she would take care of it. I hung up the phone and continued to focus on my impending honeymoon. The week went on, business as usual, as I waited for my final doctor's appointment so I could wear my prosthetic leg again. When Amber had manipulated me into joining her on a road trip to a dilapidated cabin, Detective Rage, or technically Brett Carter, was there and had abducted Rebecca Sims, who was identified as my biological mother. My mother had abandoned me when I was 6 years old at a hotel. I spent the rest of my childhood moving around from one foster home to another. I thought I would never see her again until recently when she decided to return to my life. By the time Amber and I had arrived at the cabin, Brett Carter had already amputated Rebecca's leg, and she was bleeding out. Amber tied me to a chair, and Brett decided to flay my stump. I was out of commission until the doctor gave me the go-ahead to wear my prosthetic again. Until then, I was confined to a wheelchair. Jasper and I had to put our honeymoon on hold again, due to the fact that he knew I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself until I could walk. I had a doctor's appointment 5 days after I was released from the hospital, as well as 10 days after. My doctor required me to attend physical therapy in order to become reacquainted with my separate appendage. You're doing pretty good. It's like you're a natural, Katrina, my physical therapist told me. Well, I've had to put my leg on like an accessory for about a year now. I hope I'm a natural at walking with it, I told her as I spun like a ballerina on my good leg. Well, look at you. You sure do look comfortable walking around on that thing. I think it's time that you and Jasper go on your honeymoon. Go. Relax and forget about all your troubles, the doctor told me as he came into the therapy room. Then we better get back to the center and let everyone know we are leaving, I told Jasper, who was sitting in a chair along the back wall in the room. Let's get going, Jasper said, taking my hand and leading me out to the car. Woo-hoo. So you get kind of a backstory. Makes it a little easier. Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you, Camaro. I don't even know what that was, but thank you for deleting it, Amy. There's our feral fave. This would be me by now, ready to take my honeymoon. I don't know what it said, but thank you, Amy, for deleting. It just says you deleted a message. Probably a pervert. Anyway. Yes, and unfortunately, I will say this much. Unfortunately, here, blocking does nothing. Well, sort of does, but not really. Nice. That's why I normally have it on private, so that y'all can only get in through the invite that I send to the Discord. Unfortunately, like if it's shared to you, you can get in, but otherwise it's usually set up private. I got it on public, so anybody can come in. What's up, y'all? I'm reading my book. This is the 4th book in my affair series. I do the others on a playlist here on my channel, so you can find those. Otherwise, chapter 2. Jasper and I called for a center meeting with my sisters, Charlotte and Jillian, along with Gabrielle. Exactly, Camaro. Along with Gabrielle, the one who saved Ansley, the center's namesake. Okay, everyone, Jasper and I are finally leaving for our honeymoon. I need each one of you to work together and hold down the fort, I explained to Charlotte, Jillian, and Gabrielle. Charlotte and Jillian were my foster sisters. I went to live with them after more than a dozen failed foster homes. We had been together for more than half my life, and they were the only family I could depend on, other than Jasper. Gabrielle was the woman who had saved Ansley Kirkland. Malachi Townsend, the butcher, had amputated her left leg, assuming she had died, and disposed of her body in a plastic storage box on Gabrielle's property. After the news had reported my story, Ansley found me, and we had become friends. When the two of us returned to the home I was abducted from, Malachi broke in and slit Ansley's throat just before I shot him in the face with a shotgun. I named the recovery center in her memory for her son, Matthew, who was the product of Malachi's rape. No problem, Kenzie. We've got this taken care of. You go, relax, and enjoy yourself for the next 2 weeks. You deserve it, Jillian said. I really need this vacation. I just have to make sure that the 3 of you can work together without any drama. All I can hope for is some resemblance of normalcy. I won't be able to relax if I think there will be animosity here at home, I said. You mean me, don't you? Gabrielle scoffed. Yes, Gabrielle, I mean you. Not only toward Charlotte and Jillian, but also toward the guests here at the center, I told her, matter of factly. You know, Mackenzie, you are the only one here I have a problem with. After what you did to Ansley, I hold animosity towards only you. I get along just fine with Jillian and Charlotte, Gabrielle said, smirking at me. Regardless of what you think of me, Gabrielle, I would like to be reassured that you are not going to push aside the guests' concerns, no matter how stupid you think they are, I said, pursing my lips and raising my eyebrows. I will take care of the guests and make sure they come directly to me with any concerns they may have. That way, I will be the only one to deal with them, so you won't have to worry, Jillian told me. Okay, Jillian, I trust you to cover it from here. Charlotte, please assist Jillian with anything she may need. Also, Gabrielle, you are to report to Charlotte while we are gone. Jasper and I will be back in 2 weeks. In that time, no one is expected to be admitted or leave, so it should be pretty easy for y'all. If you need me for any reason, please do not hesitate to call me. I'm pretty sure we can handle this, Charlotte reassured me. I'm talking about the children. If any of the foster children need our guidance, please call me, I requested. I assure you, Mackenzie, I will take care of them, just as you do, Jillian said. Good. Jillian will take care of the children, and no one needs to disturb us on our honeymoon, Jasper said, glaring at the others. It's okay if they call me for the kids, I told him. You belong to me for the next 2 weeks. They don't exist, and your focus should be on me, Jasper told me as he grabbed my upper arm. Okay, I get it. Go pack the car so we can leave, I told him, kissing him on his cheek. Jasper let go of my arm and headed out of the center. As soon as the front door closed, I turned toward my sisters and Gabrielle. He's being a little aggressive, isn't he? Charlotte asked me. More possessive than aggressive, Gabrielle agreed. He's just trying to get some alone time with me. We haven't had any since we got married. Shit keeps hitting the fan, I commented. How about you call us if you need help? Charlotte said. He's my husband and he loves me. He won't hurt me, I attempted to reassure them. After loading our luggage into the car, Jasper re-entered the center as I hugged my sisters. Jillian was always more compassionate than Charlotte, but Charlotte still held more compassion than Gabrielle. You ready to go, Mac? Jasper asked, placing his hand on the small of my back. Yes, absolutely yes, I said. Enjoy, and make sure to relax. We will take care of everything here, so don't worry, Charlotte said as we headed out the door. I'm so glad we are finally able to do this. We both need to relax and clear our minds. No more worrying about Psycho Killer, I told Jasper with a sigh of relief. Well, I can say that trying to figure out who the killer is was pretty exciting, Jasper said. Oh yeah, it was a blast. You only say that because the killer wasn't after you. Just because your biological family isn't a group of murderous psychopaths doesn't mean a crazy stalker killer stranger won't someday come after you. You're a good-looking man, and women can be crazy. Maybe one day you show a nice courtesy to a woman who thinks you are flirting and becomes obsessed with you. Then she decides she's mad that you're married and kills you out of jealousy. Wow, that was pretty specific. But if she's obsessed with me and is upset I'm married, wouldn't she just eliminate the competition so she would have me all to herself? Jasper said, smirking. Nice. So I'm having to dodge another killer? In this scenario, you are the target because she has decided she can't live without you. Then no one can. Or if she can't have you, then no one can. Plus, I'm tired of having to fight off the killer. It's your turn, I explained, laughing. This is an extremely morbid conversation. It absolutely is. But this is how our life is now. We get to wonder about everyone around us and if there might have been something we said or did to possibly trigger someone's murderous rage. All right, Mac. Let's hope the rest of our lives is just as exciting as the beginning has been. Oh, you want excitement? How about you pull over and we get our honeymoon started early, I said, placing my hand on his knee and slowly moving it up his thigh. Well, seems like someone has finally relaxed a little and has decided to relieve some stress, Jasper said, shifting in the driver's seat, leaning toward me in the passenger seat. There is only one way I know how to relieve stress, but I'm going to need your help, I said, leaning over from my seat and kissing him on his neck. Can you wait until we get to the resort? It might be a little weird and awkward if we stop at a motel for an hour just to relieve a little stress. Plus, we have 2 hours to catch our flight, Jasper said, quaking in his seat. Fine, I said, sitting back in my seat, crossing my arms over my chest and smirking. We are 10 minutes from the airport, Jasper informed me. Oh, is that what you want? You want to sneak off to the bathroom before our flight? I said, rubbing his thigh again. That's not what I meant, Jasper said, smiling. You're such a tease, but I love you. I hope you plan to take advantage of our alone time, I told him, sliding my hand a little further up his thigh. Okay, we're here, Jasper said, pulling into the parking lot at the airport. Chapter 3. Oh my gosh, they're so weird. They're so weird. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Anyway, that's weird. That was weird. That was awkward. I don't expect half of the stuff that comes out. Like, literally, these books have been published for a while, so I'm not remembering some of this stuff, and I'm like, oh. Makes me feel a little, okay, well, wonder what was happening in my life when I wrote that. Probably nothing. Anywho. All right, chapter 3. After a 6.5-hour flight, we had finally landed in Hawaii. We held hands as we strolled through the airport on the way out to the shuttle. Jasper had made reservations for us at a 5-star, all-inclusive resort and spa. Everything we needed was located in or around the resort, so we could walk. When we disembarked the shuttle, we were greeted and each given a lei, as well as a cocktail that tasted like pineapples. Jasper wandered over to the front desk in order to check in, as I admired the aesthetics of the lobby. There was a sweet, crisp scent that wafted throughout with soft, soothing music enveloping around me. I took in a deep breath and closed my eyes. It felt as though a huge weight had just lifted off my shoulders and floated away. As I opened my eyes, Jasper stepped up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. I have the key to our happy little getaway. You want to go with me? Jasper asked, softly pressing his lips against the back of my neck. I turned around and cupped his face with my hands. Oh, we are going into the room where all these people here in the lobby are going to get a show, I said, pressing my pelvis against his. We walked toward our assigned room with our arms wrapped around each other. At that moment, I felt as though I finally had a normal life. As Jasper opened the door to the room, it looked like a small one-bedroom apartment. There was a tiny kitchen with a refrigerator, coffee maker, microwave, and sink. The living room furniture was set up facing a large sliding patio door, overlooking the ocean and beach area. As I slowly wandered through the room, I felt all the stress and tension that had built up over the past couple of years just slough off, and every muscle in my body relaxed. The bedroom was only large enough for a king-size bed with a nightstand on each side. There was a dresser against the wall approximately 2 feet from the foot of the bed. The attached bathroom had a stand-up stall shower and a large jet tub, along with double sinks. The entire square footage of the suite was probably 400, with the largest square footage in the living room. I figured it was because anyone staying in a place that beautiful wouldn't spend much time in the bedroom. Jasper took our luggage into the bedroom and placed it on the bed. As I opened the large sliding door and stepped out onto the patio, there was a small rectangular table with a two-seater bench on one side, which looked out to the ocean. There was a beautiful floral arrangement placed in the center of the table. I sat down on one side of the bench at the table on the patio and looked out at the beautiful view. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, relaxing. As I opened my eyes, Jasper stepped up behind me, placing his hands on my shoulders and kissed me on top of my head. Hey, how beautiful is this place? I asked Jasper. It's amazing, he said, slowly moving his hands down my body and over my breasts. What's going on here? I asked with a sensual tone. How about we go in and test out the bed? Jasper said, moving around to the front of me and presenting his hand. Placing my hand in his, and he pulled me up. I placed my hand into his, and he pulled me up into his arms. Our lips met, and our tongues tangled as with each other. Jasper swept me up into his arms and carried me into the bedroom. He gently placed me down on the bed, slowly removing my prosthetic leg. Then he laid down on the bed next to me. He was passionate, gentle, and loving. The whole time, my mind was focused on him and the way our bodies intertwined with one another. We were completely in sync with each other's movements as his hands gently caressed my body as he thrusted. We both climaxed at the same time, and Jasper slowly lowered himself onto the bed as he pulled out, then snuggled into me. The two of us were still panting heavily for a few moments after. You want to go for a walk along the beach? I asked as soon as I was breathing normally. We can walk along the part of the beach within the borders of the resort. We are at an adults only resort, so you can focus on yourself and us along with being in the moment. I feel like your mind isn't fully with me when we are alone in our room together, Jasper said, kissing me on the cheek and getting out of the bed to assist me with my prosthetic leg. You know me so well. Hold on. Oh, okay. You know me so well, I said, kissing him after he put me together and assisted me into a standing position. We got dressed and headed out to the beach. I was so glad he had packed shorts for me. The weather was beautiful, but it was warm enough where we were both wearing shorts, so we could walk along the shore with the water coming up and splashing our feet. We meandered down the beach until we came to an outdoor bar. Jasper asked if I would like to get a drink, and it felt like we were on our first date again. Jasper walked up to the bar and asked for the most exotic drink they made. The bartender nodded, grabbed a couple of pint glasses, mixed several liquids together in a metal shaker, then poured the mixture into the glass. He topped the drinks off with a pineapple and cherry garnish, then handed the drinks to Jasper. After payment was made, Jasper turned and handed one of the drinks to me, and we wandered off to find a place on the beach to sit down. My stump was beginning to throb, and I wanted to remove my prosthetic. We found a couple of chairs to relax in and sat down to enjoy the view. I placed my drink down in the sand and unstrapped my left leg from the stump. Jasper took the prosthetic and placed it down at his feet. I retrieved my drink and sat back to relax. Jasper and I watched the ocean roll up onto the sand, then retreated back into itself. The drink was sweet with an alcoholic afterburn I felt all the way down my chest. I sipped it slowly due to the fact that I wasn't much of a drinker and I hadn't had any alcohol since I had opened the recovery center. As a matter of fact, since most of the guests were on medication that couldn't be mixed with alcohol, it wasn't allowed in the center at all. After a few moments of quiet reflection, a couple stumbled over in front of where we were sitting. The man had short brown hair and was wearing swimming trunks with a plain white muscle shirt. The woman had her blonde hair pulled up into a ponytail and was wearing a bikini with a silk wrap around her waist. Whoa, Sarah, check it out. She can take her leg off, the man said. Dustin, you can't say things like that out loud in public. I'm sorry, ma'am. When he drinks, he's like a toddler with no filter. He just says the first thing that pops into his head. The woman apologized. No problem. I can understand how startling this must look. Sometimes I wake up and forget that it's missing and fall out of bed. I look down and yell, "Oh my goodness, someone stole my leg while I was sleeping." Then I just stare at my stump until I remember, I said, smirking. Jasper snorted as he stifled his laughter. Oh man, for real? Dustin asked, dumbfounded. Jasper and I both leaned into each other and giggled. She's kidding, Jasper told him between breaths. Damn, that's fucked up. I just about lost my buzz, feeling like shit because I can't control my mouth. I'm sorry, okay? Dustin said, sounding offended. Considering I'm the one missing my leg, I feel entitled to make jokes about it. Maybe I should have overreacted like you did. How about y'all sit down? How about y'all sit down and I'll tell you the story of what happened? I'm not offended by anything anyone says. If my jokes upset you that much, I hope we don't run into each other again while we're here, I said calmly, sipping my cocktail. Nah, I was kidding. So what happened? Dustin said, sitting down on the sand in front of us. Have y'all heard about the butcher? I asked as Sarah joined Dustin on the sand. Wasn't that some sick fuck serial killer? Dustin asked. Yes, he was a sick fuck serial killer. He took me, tortured me, and amputated my leg. Now I live with people staring at me and wondering what happened. I would prefer for people to ask questions rather than make snide comments. Now then, I'm Mackenzie, and this is my husband Jasper. We're finally taking our honeymoon, and we are here for 2 weeks. How about y'all? I told them. Well, I don't think our story can top that, but I'll give it a shot. I'm Sarah, and this is my foster brother, Dustin. We met at a foster home when I was 12 and he was 14. We both aged out of the system and moved in together. Recently, we decided since we are the best relationship we've ever had, we're going to have a baby together. So we're technically on a baby moon. It's like a vacation right before the baby comes. As soon as we get home, we're going to the fertility clinic and having our baby put in me, Sarah explained. We were both foster kids as well and met at the same age as y'all. We recently found each other again after being separated. Although we were basically in love when we lived in the foster home together, Jasper explained. That is so cute. We are just like regular siblings, other than the fact that we're having a baby together, Sarah began as she rubbed her belly. We have never had sex like you two, obviously, because you're married to each other, but we went to a fertility clinic and had our stuff scientifically fertilized, and I'm going to carry a baby that is part of each of us. We get along so well together that we decided that we would make great parents together, she continued, and lightly punched Dustin on his bicep. Everything we have is separate, so we don't fight about finances because we pay our own bills. We don't fight about sex because we don't have sex with each other. We're very happy together, and we have never seen each other. We are very happy together, and we have never seen each other as siblings, I said, sipping my drink. The four of us shared horror stories along with good times from being in the foster care system until the sun went down. At that point, Jasper and I had enough alcohol in our system. We were definitely inebriated. How about we go eat at the resort restaurant? Jasper suggested. That would be nice. I could definitely go for food, I said as I attempted to put my extra appendage on my stump. Dude, I think it's backwards, Dustin laughed, pointing out that the foot was positioned wrong. I've definitely had too much to drink, I said, laughing along with the others. Let me help you, Jasper offered as I leaned back and laughed hysterically. I hadn't laughed that hard in my entire life, and it felt so great to get it out. Dustin and Sarah were laughing with me, and Jasper was smiling as he strapped on my leg. Jasper helped me up, and we headed toward the restaurant. We ate and had several more drinks. Sarah and Dustin seemed to be great people, but Dustin kept asking about the butcher. So he was someone you knew? Dustin inquired. I didn't really know him. He was just the creepy guy from the diner we frequented, I told him, sighing heavily. Jasper noticed I was becoming irritated, and he decided to end the evening. Oh, okay, I think it's time for bed. We're getting tired. We said goodbye to our new friends and went back to the room. We had barely got undressed before we passed out on the bed to sleep off the alcohol. Not gonna lie, twisted 3 things in this little bit all in my head. Get it, Jasper, break the bed. Don't pull it out, leave it in. He said you don't need this. You ain't going nowhere. Hey, that's what the guy said when he cut her leg off. Hey, you don't need this. You're not going anywhere, bitch. Ew. Ooh, that's new. Who are my top fans? Oh, just people who've made comments. What up? Hey, people got XP on here. Nice. I don't know what any of that means. But what up, y'all? I have no idea what any of that means. That's pretty cool. I was going to take a deep breath and it got caught. Okay. Chapter 4. We're only reading chapter 8, so we're about halfway there. Everybody still with me? We still good? Everybody still good? Exactly. This time she consented to her leg being removed. They said, yes, you can. I think that is so funny. They met the drunk people and then she got a little inebriated and put her leg on backwards. Interesting. So far, we're just kind of building up to it. You know how it is. You got to get the build up, and then all of a sudden it's like action. What the fuck? Isn't that how they all go? They all just, yeah. All right. Chapter 4. When I woke up the next morning, Jasper was standing outside on the patio. I could hear him talking to someone, seeing he was on his phone. Before I could join him, the poison I had ingested the night before decided to exit my body. I placed one hand over my mouth and, thankful that I had passed out with my prosthetic still attached, I rushed to the bathroom to vomit. Once my stomach was empty, I backed away from the toilet and sat down on the floor across from it, leaning against the wall. As I wiped my mouth with my shirt, Jasper entered the bathroom and squatted down next to me. Had a little too much to drink last night? He asked, brushing the back of his fingers along my cheek. Maybe just a little, I said, chuckling. Who were you on the phone with? Oh, it was nobody, Jasper said, ignoring my question. So what are the chances of you wanting to eat? Outlook not so good, I said, reciting the magic 8-ball. Well, you might want to eat later. How about we just hang out here in the room for the day, and maybe we can order room service when you're ready to eat, Jasper suggested. That sounds amazing. I don't know if I could take another day with Dustin if we happen to run into him and Sarah, I said, rubbing my forehead. Okay, let's get you back into bed, Jasper said, assisting me into the standing position. We spent the entire day 2 of our honeymoon in bed. We not only made love, we also enjoyed each other's company. The 3rd day of our honeymoon, we woke up early to go out to the resort restaurant for breakfast before we went to the spa. While we were eating, Sarah and Dustin came over to introduce another couple they had met the day before. The man looked similar to Dustin, other than the fact that he had blonde hair, and the woman had her chocolate brown hair pulled up into a ponytail, similar to Sarah. All 4 of them were dressed to go swimming. Hey guys, this is Mackenzie and Jasper, Sarah began, introducing us to the new couple. This is Hallie and Camden. We met them yesterday and we told them all about you. They really wanted to meet you. Really? Well then. Hello, Hallie and Camden. How are y'all doing this morning? I asked, standing and shaking their hands. Can we see it? Camden blurted. See what? I asked, knowing full well what he wanted. Your amputation, Hallie whispered, taking a seat at the table with us. That is completely inappropriate. I'm going to respectfully ask all of you to please leave us to finish our breakfast. If you refuse, I will contact the security and have you removed. It's been nice meeting you, Hallie and Camden, as well as seeing you 2 again, Sarah and Dustin, Jasper politely told them, standing and leaning over the table, palms flat on the surface, making direct eye contact with each one of them. Well, they got to see it the other day, Camden said, disappointed. I'm not a sideshow attraction. What gives you the right to come over to me and ask to see the mutilation of psycho cursed me to live with for the rest of my life, I yelled, loud enough for the entire restaurant to look over in our direction to see what was going on. A restaurant staff member came over and stood next to the table. Is everything okay over here? Jasper sat back down and took a deep breath before responding. I'm sorry, we didn't mean to disturb everyone. These people came over to ask me to remove my prosthetic leg so they could see my stump, I told him, being snarky. The four of you are going to have to leave. Please don't bother the other patrons, the restaurant employee requested. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe we'll see you out on the beach later, Sarah said, as she turned to walk away. When the others remained at the table, just glaring at me, Jasper stood up and placed his arms around the shoulders of the guys, leading them to the exit. I watched as Jasper walked out of my line of sight. It looked like he was having a friendly conversation with Dustin and Camden as Hallie lagged behind them. It seemed a little strange that Sarah and Dustin had walked in and headed straight toward our table. It was as if they knew we were there. The fact that they brought in another couple to harass me was completely inappropriate, and I was glad that Jasper recognized that. What I couldn't get over was several red flags that had recently come out about Jasper. He was portrayed as being aggressive and possessive before we left the center. He was secretly talking to someone on the phone and refused to tell me who it was. And now he seemed to be having a friendly conversation with a couple of guys who were harassing me after he went off on them. I wasn't sure what to think about his behavior, but I was positive he only had good intentions. He was a laid back guy, so I attributed his friendly conversation as his way to get his point across. I have scheduled a full spa day for us. They are also aware of your extra appendage and have made arrangements to accommodate you. You are first scheduled for a couples massage. We are first scheduled for a couples massage. Let's get to that so we can relax on the beach later when we are done. The entire spa treatment I have scheduled for us will take about 4 hours to complete. If you're not relaxed by the end of the treatment, then they didn't do it right, Jasper told me after he had returned to the table. I hope it does help me relax. I feel like the only reason I really snapped like that was because I am so tense, I explained. Once we had finished breakfast, Jasper and I headed to the resort spa. Through the front doors, the lights were dim, and there was soft, relaxing music playing through the speakers in the ceiling. A woman sat behind a short counter and greeted us in almost a whisper. Hello and welcome. What is the name of your reservation? The woman asked. I think I put it under Tully, Jasper told her. I've got you right here. We have a double room set up for you, and your masseurs are ready for you. If you give me a few moments, I will call them up here, and they will escort you back to the room, the woman told us. Shit. After a few moments, two women appeared in the hallway and greeted us. We were escorted to a massage room with two massage tables set up. The women waited outside for us to prepare for the treatment. Jasper and I undressed and laid down under the sheets provided. We only waited for a few moments before there was a soft knock on the door, and the two masseurs came in. One masseur came over and whispered in my ear, we know about your prosthetic. Would you mind removing it? It might be easier to massage the stump without the extra piece. The masseur said, of course, sometimes I forget it's an accessory, I told her, sitting up in order to unstrap my prosthetic. The masseur took my left leg and set it aside as I returned into position so she could rub my back. Immediately, I felt all the muscles in my body relax. She started at my shoulders, making her way down to my lower back. She not only massaged my arms, but she also rubbed my hands. Once she was done with my upper body, she made her way down to my thighs and down my right calf. When she began rubbing my right foot, it was almost as if all the frustration and tension had just left my body. She's inside the little cubie thing. Okay, ma'am, you can roll over, the masseur told me as she lifted the sheet in order to cover me. Once I was settled on my back, she replaced the sheet over me. I closed my eyes, relaxed onto the table, and the masseur gently began to rub my face. She placed a warm, wet cloth over my face and, and moistened the skin. She massaged a gel cleanser into my face, then wiped it off with the same warm cloth. Then she massaged an exfoliating scrub and wiped it off with a new warm cloth. After that, she placed a gel sheet mask over my face and massaged over the mask, rubbing the gel substance into my skin, not only on my face, but around my neck and shoulders. When she peeled the sheet mask off, she then massaged the remaining gel substance into my skin before whispering she was done. I laid there for a couple of moments, enjoying the feeling of relaxation before slowly sitting up and draping an oversized robe over my body that the masseur had left on a chair next to the table so I could reach it. Jasper walked over and picked me up in order to place me into a wheelchair to take me to the next spa treatment. Do we just leave our stuff here? I asked Jasper as he wheeled me out. I have a key to the room to lock it up to keep our items safe. We will be coming back here for another quick massage before we are done, Jasper said as he turned to lock the door. He wheeled me out to a sauna room and assisted me with wrapping a towel up under my arms to cover my exposed breasts under the robe. We were the only two in the sauna at first, so Jasper carried me over to the bench seat and placed me into a seated position. He folded the wheelchair and placed it against the wall just inside the door and draped our robes over it. Jasper sat down next to me, and we both leaned back and relaxed to enjoy the purging of our pores. It was only a few moments before 4 more people entered the sauna. I opened my eyes and looked up to see Sarah, Dustin, Hallie, and Camden. I exhaled loudly, feeling the tension return to my body. Jasper looked up and just nodded at them to acknowledge their existence. Oh man, isn't this a coincidence? Check it out, Camden said, pointing at my stump peeking out from under the bottom of my towel. Can you please not speak? We are trying to relax, Jasper requested, saving me the angry outburst. Camden shrugged and joined the others on the bench seat. As Jasper and I began to relax again, the 4 others whispered to each other as they discussed my stump. Do you think she would let me touch it? Camden asked. I don't think she would allow that, but at least you got to see it now, Dustin told him. You do realize that this is something tragic that happened to her and not something that she did for attention, Sarah scolded. Her story was public. That means she should be willing to show people, Camden said. You can be such an asshole sometimes, Hallie said to Camden. For crying out loud! Shut the fuck up, I shouted. It became quiet, and the 4 of them finally quit whispering. After we had been in the sauna for about an hour, a spa representative came in. Mr. and Mrs. Tully, your rose bath is ready, she said. Jasper stood up and walked over to retrieve our robes and the wheelchair. He wrapped the robe around me and carried me over and placed me into the wheelchair. The spa representative held the door open as Jasper wheeled me out, and we followed her into a room with a large rectangular pool-like tub in the center of the room. The tub was full of steaming water with rose petals floating on the surface. The spa representative left the room, and Jasper assisted me with removing my robe and towel, and he placed me down into the water. I relaxed into the tub as Jasper entered on the other side and relaxed across from me. The tub was long enough for the 2 of us to sit on opposite ends facing each other, stretched out, and our feet wouldn't touch. The soft scent of roses filled the air. Within a couple moments, a couple of women entered the room without speaking. One woman sat next to my right side and began massaging my hand. The other woman tended to Jasper. The ladies focused on our hands, arms, and shoulders. Neither one spoke. They just ensured we were relaxed. Once the ladies were done, they left the room, and Jasper once again assisted me. Using my arms, I pulled myself up and out of the rose bath, sitting up on the edge. He wrapped the robe around my shoulders and I slipped my arms into the sleeves. Jasper brought the wheelchair over near me, then lifted me up. He helped me into a seated position and wheeled me back to the massage room we started in. Once he had unlocked the door, he pushed the wheelchair up next to the massage table and scooped me up into his arms before placing me up on the table. Jasper softly pressed his lips to mine. I disrobed, laid face down, and draped the sheet over my lower half. The same two masseurs came in within just a few moments. The masseur stepped up next to me and pulled the sheet up over my back, up to my shoulders. She first rubbed her hands over my back as if she were smoothing the sheet before placing warm stones lined down my spine and across my shoulders. At that point, I was so relaxed, I began to doze off. Just before I had entered the REM stage, I was awoken by the masseur lifting the stones off my back. When she was done, she tapped me on the shoulder. I'm all done, she whispered in my ear. Take as much time as you need before you get up. Your husband should be done soon. Thank you, I whispered. The masseur left the room. As I reached my hand around and grabbed the sheet to cover myself, I rolled over to face the side of the room Jasper was on and allowed my right leg to hang over the side of the massage table before sitting up. I rubbed my eyes, trying to fully wake up. As I pulled my hands away from my face, I peered over and realized that Jasper was not lying on the massage table next to me. I looked around the room, thinking that maybe he was still in the room. Once I noticed he had disappeared, I tried to lower myself down on my right foot so I could get my prosthetic and dress myself in order to find him. I held onto the massage table and I did what I could for myself. When I reached for my appendage, the door to the room opened and Jasper walked in. I turned to face him with tears streaming down my face. Mackenzie, why are you crying? Jasper asked without acknowledging the fact that I was standing with one leg. Where did you go? I practically whispered as I tried to stop crying. I had to go to the bathroom. You were asleep, and I thought I would be back before you were done, he told me as he walked over to assist me back to sitting on the massage table. I don't know what is going on with you, but I want you to go back to being the Jasper you used to be. I'm still the same. I have always been. What are you talking about? Nothing. Never mind. Forget it. I'm probably looking for something that isn't there. Okay. Well, let me help you. Jasper helped me strap on my left leg, then turned to grab my clothes. He faced me with my clothes draped over his arm and handed me one piece of clothing at a time. Whew, that was a long chapter. Fuck. Rude. Fucking people won't just go away. All right. Dang, I've been on for an hour and we're getting through this, man. Chapter 5 already? What? Okay, is Amy still in here? I know, right? Is Amy still in here? So there's only 2 people in here. It's probably Christy Jorgensen and Miranda. Because I know Amy is 2 hours behind. So for her, it's 3. Ooh, I'm excited for that one. Yeah, see? Okay, so Amy's gone. I'm sorry. I just find it funny that one of my characters' name was Camden. I thought that was funny. Because Amy's son's name is Camden. That's what I thought that was funny. Anyway. Anywho. All right, chapter 5. I got you. It is. See, that's exactly what I thought. Shows there's 2 people in here, Christy Jorgensen and Miranda. I mean, the 2 that are the most assistant. And then there's Camaro. Oh, that means that Miranda left. And the killer's name is Malachi. I know, right? What the heck? We're all destined. I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. Funny. Yeah, her son's name is Camden. He keeps going in and out where it says 2 and then 3 and then 2 and then 3. That's why I was like, somebody's leaving. Anyway, yeah. The killer's name is Malachi. Camaro has a kid named Malachi. I've got one dude here. His name is Camden. Amy's son's name is Camden. I mean, it's destiny. That reminds me, where's Destiny? No, I'm just kidding. Everybody else is left. I see that number jump up, though. I can see it out of my peripheral vision. That number goes pretty high when I'm reading. All right, 4 more chapters to read because I got 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ooh. All right. I'm getting through this one pretty quick. All right, chapter 5. Once we had stepped out of the room, the masseurs were waiting for us. Yeah, exactly. Once we had stepped out of the room, the masseurs were waiting for us with many metal water bottles filled with berry water. We took the bottles from the ladies and headed to the exit. As we meandered back to our room, holding hands, I decided to just focus on being in the moment. As we made it back to the room, I picked up my cell phone off the bedside table to see if Charlotte or Jillian had called from the center. They seemed a little concerned about Jasper's behavior before we left. After the few unusual behaviors I had noticed, I was wondering if they would call to check on me. There was a notification on the screen which showed I had missed a call and the voicemail, but I didn't recognize the number. I unlocked the phone, pressed the widget for the phone book app, and touched the voicemail icon. I went ahead and pressed play to listen to the message. In order for me to be able to change my clothes, as I listened to the message, I pressed the speaker and placed the phone back on the bedside table. Mackenzie, it's Amber. I'm being followed by someone who says they know you. Please help me. She's threatening me. Wait, no, was all that was said on the message. What is her problem? Doesn't she understand she is not supposed to contact you? Jasper said, I'm just going to forward the message to Faith and move on. I am feeling so good after the spa that I don't want to give a shit what she wants, I told him. I'm out of fucks to give about Amber. I decided to change into relaxed clothing to ease my anxiety of possibly being harassed about my prosthetic again. Luckily, Jasper had packed a pair of baggy sweatpants and a camisole for me. How about we go take a walk along the beach? Jasper asked as he emerged from the bathroom once we had both changed our clothing. That would be amazing. I just hope we don't come into contact with Dustin, Camden, Sarah, and Hallie. I mean, the ladies aren't too bad, but the guys are assholes, I told him. I understand. They were a little overbearing at the spa. A little? They were completely out of line. What kind of people ask someone to show them their amputated limb? Let's just relax and try not to think about them. Let's just enjoy the rest of our honeymoon, Jasper said, lightly kissing me on my cheek. You're right. We did just enjoy the most relaxing time we have had in a long time. We should enjoy it while we can, I agreed. As we strolled down the beach, we allowed the water to roll up on the shore over our bare feet. We were trying to just concentrate on our breathing and relaxation. It was amazing enjoying our time together alone without any interruptions. How about something to eat? Jasper asked after about an hour. That would be nice, I told him as we walked up the beach toward the resort restaurant. Even though it was mid-afternoon, we stopped for lunch. I was actually feeling a state of euphoria from just being able to focus on myself. It was just the two of us, and my phone didn't ring the entire time we were sitting there. I was so glad we were able to appreciate each other without anyone interrupting us. For the rest of our honeymoon, we didn't see Dustin, Camden, Sarah, or Hallie again. To make things better, I didn't receive another phone call from Amber either. Of course, I wondered if she was safe, but did everything I could to push those thoughts out of my mind. Jasper took me to the spa twice more in order to receive different treatments. He had disappeared a few more times and had been on his phone secretly talking to someone. He wouldn't tell me who it was. I decided he was probably trying to surprise me with something. So I let go of any suspicion I had and just enjoy myself. By the time our honeymoon was over, I was so relaxed and happy. I had forgotten about my past and was really looking forward to my future. Okay, that one was a little too fast. Doing school. Learning is fun. I'm just kidding. If that stays suspicious. Hey, Amy's had it out for Jasper since the beginning. Since like book 1, she's had it out for Jasper. She thinks there's something going on there. You never know. Maybe he's just being a sweet guy. Anyway. But I know. I was like, okay, that was a short chapter. I read chapter 6. Chapter 6. Trying to remember which one Jasper was from the last book. Is it the one that went crazy and burnt down the house? No, that's Johnny. Johnny's the crazy one who burnt down the house. Jasper was the one who protected her in like the group home type situation when she had gone to a house that was in the group setting. Like the parents didn't really give a shit as long as the kids weren't fucking assholes, and they used to sneak out of the house. And then when he left, the one of the other kids started being inappropriate with her, so she ended up having to move to another house. That's where Jasper was. You may have missed that one. Yes. Yup. They were cute together. Were. All right. Chapter 6. I was practically skipping as Jasper and I stepped through the front doors of the center. Charlotte and Jillian were sitting behind the reception desk talking. They looked up simultaneously as we approached. Welcome back. How was your honeymoon? Charlotte asked as she stepped around the front of the desk and hugged me. It was wonderful. The spa was absolutely relaxing and the view was serene. We had the best time. How were the children? I asked. Jasper and I decided that a section of the center was to be allocated for foster children who were having a hard time with life. We took them in order for them to receive the direction they needed to become functioning members of society and to keep them off the street. There were several juvenile offenders Jasper and I took straight out of a juvenile detention center and turned them into upscale citizens. We allowed all of the children to stay at the center until they were ready to support themselves. The age range of the children in the care of the center was between 12 and 18. The few foster children we had that were over the age of 20 had already moved out, but every so often a couple of them would show up just to visit. The children really missed you, Jillian told me. I want to set up a special dinner for them. I want to make this weekend nothing but fun for our foster children. Jasper and I would like to sit down with each one and see how their lives are going. Where are they right now? I asked. Lavender took everyone upstairs about an hour ago. Kensington was the only one having an issue without you here, but Lavender took care of him and he seemed to calm down after a couple of days, Charlotte informed. Why didn't you call me and let me talk to him? My poor sweet king. I'm going to go check on him just to make sure he knows we are back, I said, heading toward the staircase. Honey, they should be coming down for dinner soon. You can talk to him then. You know, if you go up there now, he's going to cling to you for the rest of the night. And I'm sure you want to do a few things before dinner, Jasper told me, touching my shoulder. You're right. I'm going to set up a fun party for the children. This is going to be great. I'm going to make a plan right now and create a questionnaire to give each one of them to find out what kind of activities they would prefer, I said, heading toward my office. It's nice to see you in a good mood, Charlotte said. I turned and smiled before stepping into my office and closing the door. The first thing I did was call Agent Faith Lee. I was curious about Amber and why she was contacting me. Hey, Faith, it's Mackenzie, I said as soon as she answered the phone. Mackenzie, how was your honeymoon? Faith asked. It was amazing. I really needed the time away, I told her. Were you able to relax and forget about everything that has happened? She inquired. Jasper had spa sessions set up for us almost every day, and the massages were amazing. That's awesome. I'm so glad you were able to relax. So you're calling me to inquire about Amber? Yes. What was going on? Did you get the messages? Did you get the message I forwarded to you? I did. I was able to meet with her and find out what was going on. Do you remember Angela? Are you talking about the girl from the first foster home I lived in? I asked. That's her. She's now Angela Spitzer. The home she and Gwen were sent to after y'all left Betty Warren's house was a cult family. Social services weren't aware of the cult mentality of the family when the girls were placed there. At the age of 18, Angela was married to a 35-year-old man who already had 3 wives. When Gwen turned 18, she became that same man's 5th wife. Angela's first child was born within the first year of being married, as was Gwen's child. Their husband, Gary Spitzer, demanded each of his wives to have a child every year until God decides it is time to stop. The women and children must follow the man of the house. The men are to follow the high priest, who follows God's law. Amber happened to come into contact with Angela by accident. Angela approached her at a diner. Amber said that Angela knew who she was and sat down at the table with her. Amber mentioned a teenage boy who was with Angela. She said he was very intimidating, Faith explained. What does Angela want with Amber? I wondered. That's where it gets crazy. According to Amber, Angela told her that you have a damaged soul and you must repent for your sins. She says you're being haunted by a demon, and that is why you have had the recent tragedies in your life. She requested Amber help her get through to you, or Angela's family will come after Amber. Amber is terrified. The first phone call you received was right after the initial meeting. The group is apparently following her and watching Amber's every move. She's terrified that if you don't contact Angela, the group is going to kill her. How am I supposed to contact Angela? Did Amber tell you how I was supposed to contact Angela? She said they would find you. What does that mean? Amber told me that before she contacted you the first time, Angela had just approached her out in public. But after I had contacted her directly, she stated that Angela and Gwen, along with each of her oldest children, had cornered her at her home. They tortured her into telling them where you live, or where you were. Someone had informed them that you had left town on your honeymoon, and they wanted to confront you and your husband. They wanted to confront Jasper and me. They wanted to confront Jasper and me for what reason? Angela seems to think that if you become pregnant before you repent, you will give birth to a demon spawn who will create hell on earth. Is Amber okay? Did they injure her? Was she hospitalized? She did spend one night in the hospital, but I have placed Amber in protective custody for now, Faith told me. They should be arrested for what they did to her, I said. Unfortunately, we're unable to gain access to the religious compound, and they have their own police along with their own border patrol. We're limited to what we can do with the compound having their own law enforcement. If the citizens living at the compound leave the boundaries, then we can question them to get information within probable cause to get a search warrant. Unfortunately, the high priest has managed to brainwash everyone at the compound, and the children that were born there are all loyal to their leader. No one is willing to talk, Faith explained. Am I in danger? I don't think so, but we'll keep a watch on the center just to be sure. Sounds good. I'll make sure our private security is aware of the police presence, I told her before I hung up the phone and booted up my computer. I took a deep breath before preparing the questionnaire for the foster kids. Ugh. I wanted them to feel included in the decision of food and game choices for the party. They always had someone around for emotional support, but I felt as if the kids were missing the personal family connection. Also, with the possibility of danger from Angela, I was planning to confine myself to the center in order to ensure my safety uh, and the safety of my children. I was hoping that Angela would eventually lose interest in whatever she wants with me and would move on to some other crazy cult sacrifice. I didn't want to have to worry about her and her henchmen possibly injuring me or a guest of the center. The center was my halidom, and I wasn't going to allow anyone to take that away from me. As I printed the questionnaire, I set up a surprise secret movie night that would only include the foster kids. I wanted to have Jasper set up the projector in our room so we could invite them in to watch a fun movie. I pulled the papers off the printer and I straightened them on my desk. Someone knocked on my And as I straightened them on my desk, someone knocked on my office door. The household where mom was smoking near the baby. That's the Amy's back. I had a character named Camden. I thought that was so weird. I've already had Malachi. Now I've got Camden. What is going on? I think that's funny. I think it's funny. We were destined. Like I knew you were there. I don't know. Anyway. I think it's funny that I actually had a character named Camden. I don't even know where that name came from. But I think it's awesome. It came from the fact that I knew someday it would mean something. Anywho. So I'm on chapter 7. I only have 2 more chapters to read. And it's only 9 o'clock. So we're making good time. This little girl fell asleep in here. Okay, now you can't see her. She's inside the little cube. She's in there. I just watched her lay down. She's in there. I saw her lay down. She's in there. Hang on. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Give me a do. Sorry, I don't like silence. Anywho. All right, chapter 7. Let's get through this because now I gotta deal with something else. Okay. I swiveled my chair toward the door after minimizing the document on my computer screen. Yes, I said without getting up from my seat. The door opened slowly. Rebecca Sims poked her head in. I quietly sighed with agitation due to the fact that I had been trying to avoid coming into contact with her during her stay at the center. Mackenzie, can I talk to you? Rebecca asked as she entered the office on crutches. I wanted all of my guests to feel welcome, even if I didn't care for them personally. I scratched the back of my neck and waved her in. She was trying to be a part of my life, but I never wanted a relationship with her. When I was a kid, I held on to the hope that the police would find her and she would save me from the shitty foster homes I kept getting placed in. Once I was placed in the house with Charlotte and Jillian, I'd come to terms with the fact that my mother was never coming back. After everything I had been through, I never wanted to see her again. One thing I wasn't opposed to faking being, one thing I wasn't opposed to was faking being nice. You're walking pretty good on those things. When did you swap out the wheelchair? I asked cordially as she closed the door behind her. Last week while you were gone. Did you have a good time on your honeymoon? She asked as she crouched over and sat down in the chair across from me on the other side of my desk. I didn't exactly want to engage in small talk with her, but her demeanor since the incident had changed. When I had first met her, she seemed self-absorbed and attention-seeking. I loathed the actual existence of her. After she had been admitted into the center, she became timid, shy, and reserved. I no longer had a strong hatred for Rebecca, but I generally steered clear of seeing her regularly. It was nice and relaxing. What can I do for you? I asked, deciding I was done with the niceties of small talk. Gabrielle's brother is going to fit me for my permanent prosthetic tomorrow, and I was wondering if you would be willing to go with me, she requested. I wasn't sure what to say at first, seeing as I didn't really want to have a personal relationship with her. I just stared at her for a few seconds, trying to come up with an excuse not to spend time with her. I will be throwing a party for my foster children this weekend. I'm arranging games and food, but I will see what I can do, I told her. Okay, then. Thank you for your time, she said. She slowly positioned her crutches in order to assist herself into a standing position, looked over at me, most likely thinking I would change my mind as I watched her struggle. She slid the crutches under her arms and slowly made her way out of my office. Rebecca left me feeling uncomfortable, and I thought my response to her was slightly petty. So I picked up the receiver of the phone on my desk and dialed the extension to the reception area. Could the two of you please come into my office? I asked. Sure, Jillian agreed, and they were standing in the doorway within a minute. What can we do for you? Charlotte asked as I sat down in the chairs across from me on the other side of my desk. Rebecca was just in here asking me to go with her to get her permanent prosthetic. It was really awkward, I told them. What did you tell her? Charlotte asked, curling her upper lip. I told her I was planning a party for the foster kids and had a lot of work to get done, or to do to get organized on time, but I would see what I could do. I didn't want to commit to spending time with her, I said. Are you ever going to give her a chance? Jillian inquired. Hell no. I don't want to give that bitch any of my time or attention. She didn't want to spend time with me when I was a kid, and I don't want to spend time with her now, I responded. She wants to correct her relationship with you, Jillian said. There is no relationship. She's just a guest here at the center. Thank you for that, Charlotte. In other words, I'm going to be professional and cordial to her, the same as I am to the other guests. I don't want to hang out with her, I told them. Rebecca approached us when you were on your honeymoon and asked if you might be willing to talk to her. We told her she needed to approach you and ask if you would be willing to talk to her to get her prosthetic fitted. Charlotte informed me. Let's move on. I need you to take these questionnaires to the foster children and inform them about the party. Let them know I would like them back by dinner time so I can begin the planning process and order what needs to be delivered. Also, make sure they know it is supposed to be a surprise for the other kids in the center so they don't say anything to anyone else. I don't need the mom squad questioning me about why I'm excluding the guests. Everyone living in the center is invited to the party. I just want my kids to be included in the planning stage, I told them. I picked up the stack that was resting on my desk, giving half the stack to Charlotte and half to Jillian. I leaned back in my chair and sighed heavily. I'm sorry, Mackenzie. I didn't realize that you were still trying to avoid Rebecca. I promise the next time I come into contact with her, I will not engage in conversation about you, Jillian said, tears welling up in her eyes. It's not your fault. What Rebecca did was inappropriate. Next time she asks about me, please just tell her that she is here for personal healing and not for personal relationships. Jillian, I love you, but please stop being so sensitive. I'm not mad at you, I said. Why are you crying? It's not like she yelled at us. Come on, Jilly. Let's get these to the kids so they have time to think about their responses. Go to the bathroom and wash your face and compose yourself, Charlotte said. Jillian and Charlotte left the office, closing the door behind them. I pulled up the internet on my desktop and looked at a moonwalk renting website. I reserved a bouncy house along with an inflatable water slide. The foster children had come to the center feeling as though they didn't have a voice. Each one of them had spent time in foster homes where they were forced to do things they didn't want to do and were not able to voice their opinions. Jasper and I wanted to make sure these kids felt as though their opinion counts. We had noticed some of the parents who reside in the center with their children don't agree with our parenting stance. I had heard at least 5 different mothers complain to Jasper that I give our foster children too much reign within the center. These 5 mothers were led by one woman, Jenny, to which I wish we could have kicked out. Unfortunately, she had 3 children, and none of the staff believed in forcing children to become homeless. This woman would gather her group of hens and complain about the foster children. Sometimes Jasper, Charlotte, Jillian, or I would have to come between these women and the foster children. The group would berate and bully the children until most of them were crying. We have all had one-on-one therapy sessions with each woman, instructing them to leave my foster children alone. After the 3rd time we had an issue, 4 of the women have since stopped bullying my children. But they stand behind their leader and allow her to berate them. Anytime I bring up her moving out and living somewhere else, she cries and plays to my sympathy for her children. Before I ordered any food or decided on any other activities, I had to wait for the questionnaires from my foster children. I did reserve tables and chairs to set up outside, and the same company offered portable toilets. Having 12 foster children at the same time, all the guests with their children at the center, I went ahead and ordered 6. Ooh, I see y'all. I see y'all. Someone decided to FaceTime you. You don't know who? I don't know who it is. No. That orange cat is outside. That orange cat. That poor baby. I'm sorry, but I think that whoever owns that orange cat needs to bring it inside the house. That cat is always over here. And lately, Minnie has tried to make sure that she still has food outside since it's no longer inside a house, it's just sitting there. I think that's where the other part of that gopher that was sitting outside, I think that's where the other part went to. I think she took it to that cat. I know. Hey, I was going to let it in the house when I opened the door. The other night, a couple of nights ago, I opened the door and it was standing there on the front porch, and it just like froze and stared at me. And I said, "Hey, kitty, you want to come inside?" And it like turned and ran away. And I was like, "Damn, I know that it's got to be a sweet cat, but I was kind of hoping maybe I could get it to come in at least for a little bit, like Minnie does. Like right now, Minnie's outside. I don't know where she went. When I eat, or when Ari and I eat, I have to kick Kira out of the the house now. She has to go outside because of the fact that she won't stay out of the kitchen. And she cannot eat any of the stuff that already drops on the floor because she doesn't have any teeth. So she can't chew it. And I'm tired of having to pull pea pods out of her mouth because she's choking on them. So there's that. So the dog thinks that she can eat the monkey's food, but she cannot eat the monkey's food because she chokes on it. And I'm tired of having to try to pull it out of her throat because she wasn't able to chew it up, and now it's... So since she won't stay out of there and she keeps trying to eat it, now I kick her out of the house. Well, normally when I tell her to go outside, Minnie comes in and Minnie just lays down. Minnie wasn't out there. I don't know where Minnie is. She's probably out wandering around. She probably was out somewhere going potty. By the time I go out there to let Kira out for, the night before I sit down and start working, most likely Minnie's going to come inside and she'll just lay there on the floor in front of me. But I was trying to get the orange cat to come inside too, though. Anyway, I only got one more chapter to read. Excuse me. One more chapter 8, and then we'll be done for the night. Oh, it's going to start talking about her. Now we're going to start talking about the foster children that are in the center that basically belong to Mackenzie and Jasper. They are the children for them. They are teenagers, so they're older kids. There's no younger ones. So now we get to hear about these kids' backstories. Get ready for this one. I mean, it's not as brutal as Mackenzie's story because I don't go into that much detail like I did in there. It's more of like a summary. So just so you're aware of that one. Anyway, chapter 8. Abelina was 12, but she was the size of an 8-year-old. Due to the fact that her parents were drug addicts, anytime they were on a bender, she would be locked in a linen closet in a hallway bathroom. Unfortunately, the only way she could fit was for her to lay on the floor in the fetal position under the shelves. There were times that she would spend weeks curled up on the floor. One day, her mother would toss in once a day. Her mother would toss in a few water bottles and a few snacks if she remembered Abelina was in there. A neighbor called in a welfare check when they realized no one had emerged from the home for several days. Police officers arrived and the front door was unlocked. Abelina's parents were discovered deceased on the floor of their living room from a drug overdose. The police continued searching the rest of the home and found her in the closet, only wearing a diaper. The police thought she was a toddler due to her resemblance of a 4-year-old. While she was recovering at the hospital, she revealed that she was, in fact, 10 years old. Abelina suffered from post-traumatic stress, and for 2 years she bounced around foster homes before social services contacted me. They felt as though she could thrive better at the recovery center. She had been doing pretty well and had latched onto Zarabella. Zarabella was sexually abused by her father, beginning at the age of 3. Her mother never wanted children because she didn't want to share her husband's attention. When her father began paying special attention to her, her mother began physically and verbally abusing her. In court, her mother claimed that she felt if Zarabella was injured, her husband would remain in their room for the night. Unfortunately, that never stopped him from sneaking into his daughter's bedroom. When she was 8 years old, her father would spend almost all night in her room. One morning, her mother violently attacked her and she was beaten so severely her father had to rush her to the hospital. He played the doting father and explained his wife beat her. He was removed from the room in order for the medical staff to perform a full examination on Zarabella. That was when they had found she had also suffered at the hands of her father, not just her mother. The hospital staff contacted the police, and she felt as though she had been saved. Once she was able to record her statement for court rather than having to face her parents again during their trial. After their sentencing, she was informed that her parents would be set free from prison at some point in her life. She didn't want her parents to ever be able to find her. So when she was 10 years old, she requested a name change. She wasn't given the name Zarabella at birth. It was the name she chose after social services and a judge accepted her affidavit requesting a name change. No one at the center, including me, knew what her birth name was, and she wanted to keep it that way. Having Evelina to cling to helped both of them feel safe at night. If Zarabella slept alone, she would have a panic attack, fearing that someone would sneak in and assault her. Evelina just didn't like being alone. Zarabella was also lucky enough to have Kendall at the center as well. They were both 13 and able to assist each other with their recovery, even though they grew up in very different households. Kendall was a special case. Her parents waited until they were set with their careers and felt as though they were financially stable enough to have kids. Luckily, her mother had her eggs frozen in her 20s as a precaution. By the time they were ready to have kids, her parents were in their late 60s, and they paid for a surrogate to carry Kendall. By the time she was 10 years old, she was basically caring for her ailing parents. Within a year, a full-time nurse had to come to their house in order to take care of her parents while she was at school. Due to their advancing age, they weren't able to give her proper attention she needed once she hit her teens. 2 months after her 13th birthday, her mother had a stroke and her father started showing signs of Alzheimer's. They were transported to a nursing home and Kendall was sent to the center. When she first arrived, Kendall was bitter. She was upset that she wasn't able to spend quality time with her parents and she lost a lot of her childhood taking care of them. However, they had left her a pretty hefty inheritance. Her parents had issued $1 million to the center in order to cover everything needed for Kendall to live there until she turned 18. $500,000 was applied to pay for meals and housing, whereas the other $500,000 was to be used as spending money for her to spend however she wanted until she turned 21. The day she turned 21, she would inherit another $50 million. Kendall was basically set for life. She hadn't been at the center for long, but she also hadn't spent any of the money that was left for her. She was lucky enough to have Landon at the center when she arrived. Landon was 14, and he was an angry child when he had arrived at the center. At the age of 12, he had spent most of his life taking care of each of his parents. His mother lost a long battle with breast cancer. She was first diagnosed when he was 3. It was caught early enough, though, that by the time he turned 4, she was in remission. When he turned 5, the cancer was back, and she was so sick, she was bedridden. He wanted to spend as much time with her as he could, while he could. They had to hire a live-in nurse to take care of her as her health continued to decline. She fought for her life until he was almost 8 and lost. She took her last breath as Landon read a book to her. She gasped for air. The nurse She gasped for air. The nurse ran in and did what she could. Landon stood and watched his mother lay lifeless in the bed she had spent the last year of her life. The nurse contacted emergency services, and he watched as his mother's body was removed from the house. His father fell into a deep depression and began spending more time on the sofa in front of the television. That was when Landon went back to taking care of his parent. By the time he was 10, his father had quit working, and Landon was no longer going to school. He was doing odd jobs for everyone in the neighborhood, just trying to make enough money to pay bills. His neighbors noticed his struggle. Realizing that his father was no longer going to work, some days they would call him over just to water their plants. The female neighbors would make him lunch and sit and talk with him, giving him motherly advice and affection. The male neighbors would have him help them with fixing random things around the house. One day, when Landon left his father at home so he could go to the grocery store, his father decided he could no longer live without his wife. Landon noticed his father was winding down in life and tried to shop quickly. His father left a note for Landon, ambled out to the garage, and hung himself from the gears of the automatic garage door. He found his father swinging like a pendulum and called emergency services. The police turned him over to social services, and the house was closed off as a crime scene. Landon was held in a juvenile detention facility until the police cleared the scene as a suicide. One of his neighbors was given permission to escort him to his father's funeral. He was angry that he had worked so hard to take care of his mother before she was taken from him that his father chose to leave him alone in the world. His mother had no choice, but his father made a conscious decision. Landon was, however, able to connect with Griffin. Not only were they the same age, but Griffin lost both of his parents tragically. When he was 7, his mother decided to drop him off personally to school instead of him riding the bus. He said he was excited to talk to his mother on his way to school. She dropped him off, gave him a loving hug, and he went on his way inside the building. He was barely through the start of his school day when an office assistant entered his classroom. She whispered to his teacher, pointed at him, then escorted him to the front office where his grandparents were waiting for him. His mother had died in a fatal car accident on her way to work. After his mother's funeral, Griffin and his father moved in with his grandparents, and he became introverted. He spent most of his home time alone in his room and basically kept to himself at school. While his father was at work, his grandmother was taking care of him before and after school. After a few years, when he was 10, his father was injured at work. He had fallen and hit his head on the concrete floor in the warehouse at his job. That time, Griffin wasn't escorted from school. He completed his school day as normal and was told by his grandparents that his father was in the hospital when he had arrived home. His grandparents had informed that the injury wasn't too bad, and that he should make a full recovery. They were sure they had plenty of time to get there. After Griffin had completed his homework, his grandparents took him to the hospital in order to see his dad. When they arrived, the 3 of them were told his father suffered a severe head injury and had slipped into a coma about a half hour before they had arrived. His grandparents allowed him to stay home from school as long as the school would grant the leave and send his classwork home each week. One night, in the middle of the night, the phone rang. The hospital was calling to inform his grandparents that his father had died. He had never regained consciousness, and as the neurons in his brain began to shut down, so did the rest of his body. Griffin was considered an orphan, but he was lucky to have his grandparents take him in. His grandfather did everything he could to teach him basic life skills, and his grandmother did everything she could to teach him how to take care of himself. Due to the fact that he excelled academically while he was doing his classwork from his father's hospital room, his grandmother decided to homeschool him. He enjoyed the few years he was able to spend with his grandparents before they could no longer care for him. They had become frail in their old age and were unwilling to take what was left of his childhood from him by having him take care of them. That was when he came to stay at the center and brought a sweet, chivalrous demeanor to the other boys. That's it. That's today. The rest of it's tomorrow. Wait, who's what? What happened? What happened, Christy Jorgensen? These are the kids that they have. They've got the foster kids at the house. Now you're just learning who they are. So you get to meet the people. Or you get to meet the kids. That's only part of them. That's only 6 of them. Because remember, they have 12. That was only just 6. The next chapter will tell you the next 6. Gotta remember. I am still working. Okay, so Miranda. Tomorrow is chapter 9 through 18. 9 through 18 tomorrow. Okay. I know. This is why I haven't broken up into 3 different days, because it makes it easier for me. You have it marked now? Awesome. It makes it easier for me because I still have books to get out for you guys. Like, I'm very excited that I do have a stack, although there is one missing from this stack, but that's only because of the fact that it doesn't belong in this stack just yet. This is inventory. This is here. This actually belongs to someone. So, but yes, so I do have books. I have books for everyone. I need to make them more. I still have to get those out. Plus, not only that, but I'm very excited to publish my holiday collection, which is one book a month in 2030. Very excited for that one. So I'm trying to get all of the books done for that so I can start doing all of my edits on everything, because I need to edit the one that's supposed to be published next year. I need to get those final edits done. I need to figure out which book is supposed to go to my beta readers. I don't know if that's this month or next month, but I know that there's supposed to be a book that's going to my beta readers. I've got another beta reader that dropped off. So there's that. It's a little rough, but shit is still getting done. We're good. Someone had asked me, they said, so how long does it take for you to do your books? Well, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. That's only working Monday through Friday, by the way. I take Saturday and Sunday off. So Monday through Friday, it's 4 to 6 weeks. Yes, okay. I am going to order a stock of these. Okay, I am going to order a few of these. I normally get 30. I think I'm just going to get 10, so I at least have some here. And my mom can just wait. Anyway. Well, you have to give me a little bit. I keep hoping that maybe at some point I can actually get that taken care of, but it's a lot more. I know. Anyway, yeah, I have to get the final edits done for the book for next year and just have that done so I can start planning the cover. That one's going to be, I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with that cover. Oh, I'm excited for that one. I'm willing to guarantee I can find some peel and stick wallpaper. That's going to help me with that one. But anyway, so that's the one for next year. And then I've got the one, let me see what I got here. I need some more paper too. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's set specifically for you. It does not have an expiration on it, but it's only, you can order it and only one time. So that's how I have it set. But I've got this one. This is the one that's set to be published next year. I've got this one, which is book 2 of the holiday collection. I just need to put these edits. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're good. I just need to put these edits into the computer. So there's that. And then I've got these books, because here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have number 9 on my computer. I'm writing number 10. I'm out of printer paper, so I cannot print number 9. There's that. This one is going to have its first round of edits here pretty soon. I've got to get the final edits for another book that's after this one. There's another book that I have that's after that one. I've got to get those edits done because that one's already come back from my beta readers. And then I've got another one that needs to go to my beta readers. I got a whole shit. I got a lot going on. So there you go. That is why I break it up. It is now 9:45. Okay. So I do have time to work a little bit. Seriously? Her going in. Hold on. This little girl, she just climbed in there again. You see her? I kept thinking I could see her laying down right here, but she just climbed up in there. I saw her poke her little head out, and then she went back in there. She's inside the little box thingy. That's so cute. This little girl. See, that's what happens. She falls asleep in here, so whenever I get up and start moving around, then she's like, I'm awake now. I know. She's so sweet. That's why I feel so bad when I go to put her to bed. I always feel so bad because she just wants to be with me. I want her to be able to put herself to bed. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Tomorrow it is chapter 9 through 18. So I will be reading that. All of these videos will be posted on Friday. There's going to be 3 of them that post at different times. So there's that. And then I do have like little shorts and stuff like that. So if you see me, so if you see me reach up and push a little button, it's because I'm literally clipping like a 60-second little clip that is a short, and I'm posting those too. So there's that. And that's going to pop up on the Discord probably about 100 times. No, not that many times. But every single time one of them posts, and those will start posting tomorrow so that you can get those little clips before I start reading again. And then tomorrow's clips will post on Thursday. So you'll get that. And then Thursday's clips post in between each one of those videos. So like the first video, like today's video, will post at 8, and then at 9, 10, 11, and then the next one posts at 12, and then some of those shorts, depending on how many I have. So it's like they post in the middle of each one. And then because it's normally 8, 12, and like 3 is when they normally post. So something like that. Anyhow. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you so very much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying so far. I hope you're enjoying it so far. This is where it sits. It sits on this little book stand that I have. So that's where I'm reading it from. So anyway, there's this. If I did with this, it sits on this little book stand. That's how I'm reading it. Anyway, all right, and I'll see y'all on TikTok tomorrow afternoon. Anyway, okay.